Hello, my name is Alexis Maxey, and I am going to give a quick overview of the lesson plan project I will be completing with my students with the novel The Giver. Here are the standards I will be using. They're the Common Core GSE, which is Georgia Standards of Excellence for Language Arts. I teach 7th grade ELA. And it's important that the students will be able to cite several pieces of textual evidence and use the RACE strategy to respond to constructive response questions. And the RACE strategy is to restate the question, answer, cite, and explain. Another standard is important is determine a theme and summarize objectively. Analyze how particular elements of a story or drama interact, which is the plot. Compare and contrast two or more characters. Use the STILL method for characterization, and students will use technology to plan, prepare, and publish their writing, along with other activities that I will discuss later. The next standards for students is the social, ethical, and human issues. So basically, the students should understand ethical and cultural and social and societal issues relating to technology, practicing responsible use of technology systems, and developing positive attitudes towards technology. The technology productive tools students should be able to use technology tools to enhance learning, increase productivity, and promote creativity. Additionally, students should be able to use productivity tools to collaborate and constructing technology enhanced models. Lastly, students should be able to use telecommunications to communicate or collaborate, publish, and interact with peers. An overview of my unit is that for this lesson, students were expected to read the novel The Giver, or will be expected to read the novel The Giver. The Giver is about a dystopian society that encourages sameness. There's an entire system set up in the community where the individuals do not live and operate like normal citizens. Students learn about this unique town through reading and completing various tasks. The products or tasks that students will be able to do is that they're going to be collaborating and answering chapter questions via Edmodo. They're going to complete a plot diagram that they're going to be using throughout the entire novel. So this is going to be interactive because each step of the way, we're going to be able to add another piece to our wonderful plot diagram. Also, we have Popplet, which my students absolutely love Popplet because they're able to create popples, and I think it's just fun creating different things or different graphic organizers utilizing Popple. And so I decided to use the character analysis using that. The students are going to put the person's picture and the name in the middle, and they're going to give me some adjectives to describe that person, and then provide some text evidence to support that. Students are going to be working in groups to create digital summaries, and students will have choices whether or not they are going to use Minecraft or create an actual artifact that's handmade. Also, students will have an opportunity to choose what students they're going to respond to when they're writing their constructive response questions. Students will have a opportunity to work with their peers to create digital summaries so they can use Pinterest to create or find pictures that can summarize what they're learning so far about the novel. Here are our essential questions. A few that stands out that are very important is how does the setting affect the characterization of the novel? That is extremely important because the setting is something that's completely different from what the students are exposed to, which is why I love the book so much, because it introduces an idea that students haven't begun to think about. Another important essential question here in this list is how do writers develop effective narratives? Because students will be writing a narrative about their society that they're going to create. I'm not sure if I mentioned that in the last slide here, the very last tab. Students are going to create a narrative essay centered around a utopia created by the students. So students are going to create their own utopian society that is geared towards their narrative essay. Here are a few rubrics that I will be using to assess my students. This particular rubric here, where my cursor is for the actual narrative that the students will be creating. Here, or I apologize, this is actually the Utopian Society rubric. This is the narrative rubric, and this one is for the characterization chart that the students will be creating. Now, with troubleshooting, there are a couple of things that I may have to do. I mean, honestly, the Chromebooks are through the county, and connectivity is not an issue at all. So my major problem is that if the Chromebook cards are unavailable, I will be at a disadvantage because my assignments are centered around students using Edmodo and students using the other different platforms or productivity tools that they will need to be successful on this particular project. One problem that I do think that I will run into is the Chromebook cards being available. And so something I can do to combat that is to reserve the cards at least 2 weeks in advance. Another problem is students creating accounts with email addresses, students not knowing their email. This is very important. Students by this time should know the email. However, I have found that students do not know their school email at this point because technology is very rarely used in the different classrooms at the school. So students are not using their email consistently. A way to combat that is to, of course, continuously use their email so students will be accustomed to using the email on a consistent basis. Some differentiation that I will expose my students to is that students will get an opportunity to work in pairs to complete their utopian society and their plot narrative or their narrative. Student choice for project product, which is they can either use a handmade activity, Minecraft, or if the students find something else that they think is even better than those two options, as long as they get it approved by me, they can use it. Student choice for the character analysis. So they get to choose between any of the main characters that they read about in the novel, The Giver. And something else is that they get to use a digital summary. I think this is going to be so cool because students have not had an opportunity to do things like this. And so I'll show them examples on how it's done. I'll model so they'll have an opportunity to do that with their groups. Collab students, I actually teach 2 collaborative classes, meaning that I have about 7 special ed students that are in my room that can operate in a collaborative environment. So I have to allow them extra time. I have to adhere basically to their IEPs, support and modify. Students working below grade level, grading will be modified. And of course, I will assist those students to ensure that they are mastering standards as well. For my closing, teacher will display students' Utopia in the Media Center for everyone to view. Students are expected to view at least 3 classmates' projects and narratives and provide 2 positive comments, 1 thing they could do better, or providing a question. Students will take a survey via Edmodo also. Additionally, I think I would like to show the movie The Giver to the students because I think that would be a perfect opportunity to segue into the standard where the students have to compare and contrast a film with the text. So I think that's how I will end my lesson. A reflection here is I want to let my peers know that I was unable to implement the lesson due to various reasons out of my control at the school. However, I am very excited. The Giver is one of my favorite novels to read, and I just love how it gives the students a view that they've never been exposed to, like I said before. So I'm able to pull ideas, get students really thinking about how things could actually be different and accepting others and their culture. I'm spiraling out of control right now, even telling you guys this, because there's so many ways that I can expose students to things further than what they're used to or what their normal is in reading novels. One thing, I've read this novel several times with various students along the years of my teaching career. And one thing I really want to stress to teachers is that students have to consistently have activating strategies and things that will expose the students to ideas outside of the novel, because the students can get bored in some various parts of the novel because some parts are very interesting and some are not. So I have to continuously stay positive about the novel and expose them to various texts, nonfiction texts that will give their students insight and information about the novel, so they'll continue to want to read, like information about dystopian societies and utopian societies, giving them information about government taking over and controlling environments, and sameness, and how that can positively affect the situation or negatively affect the situation. So overall, I am looking forward to implementing this activity because I think it is going to be awesome. Thank you so much. And again, my name is Alexis Maxey, and that is my presentation.